Raiders win it 20-13. Geno Smith, sensational.
I'll say I'm not terribly worried about week one, and I've kind of mentioned this. I do not think the Raiders have a wide receiver.
They bring six. Smith underneath, and they get it.
This was a beautiful revenge weekend for the Raiders. Pete Carroll got his revenge on his former team, the New England Patriots. Josh McDaniels returned to New England only to piss off the fans. And Geno Smith is second in the NFL in passing yards, making Seahawks fans regret sending him away for a third-round pick. Let's recap this great Raiders versus Patriots game that left Raiders fans drinking Modelo's and feeling happy rather than the usual drunk tears. So this game started out with us having to hear from a former Raiders head coach that is not Josh McDaniels, and that is none other than Antonio Pierce, who appears really salty about the fact that he's no longer the Raiders coach.
He's got a new vibe.
Listen, I hope it works for the Raiders. Good luck. I'm not there, but good luck.
Not salty at all. All right.
You know it's bad when even your co-host is admitting that you're salty as hell. I'm sure Antonio Pierce was secretly rooting for the Raiders' demise, but this guy gets really emotional, and it's crazy for him to still be like this in 2025. The Raiders gave him a ton of money to just coach for 1 year, but we know this guy's emotions always get the best of him. Not only did he call out players in the middle of the season last year saying they're making business decisions, but this guy even blocked me on Twitter, and I have never tagged this guy in anything. I've only made videos about the fact that the Raiders were playing like shit last year, but Antonio can't help but wear his emotions on his sleeve. And when the thong allegations came out towards Antonio Pierce, I used to defend this guy and say, hey, I don't think this is a thong. I think this is a t-shirt. But you know what? Now that he's salty about the Raiders, tuck rule, it was a fumble, and yes, it was a thong. But the former Raiders head coach who we were paying attention to in this game was none other than Josh McDaniels, who famously was unable to score more than 20 points in a game in his final year coaching the Raiders in 2023. Well, he was not able to score more than 13 points against the Raiders this week, and Josh McDaniels, unfortunately for him, was unable to get the last laugh against Vegas. Max Crosby, who famously smoked cigars after Josh McDaniels was fired, praised the coach and said he doesn't have an issue with him.
You know, definitely got some chip looks. I knew Josh was going to send some heat at me, but that's my guy, man. I respect the hell out of Coach McDaniels. He was always great to me, so I have nothing but good things to say.
And I'm sure on some level there's no bad blood there. After all, Josh McDaniels gave him a fat contract when he was the head coach. We're going to talk about Geno Smith and this amazing Raiders offense in a second, but it is hilarious now to see Patriots fans complaining about Josh McDaniels when everybody thought the Patriots were going to win this game and he was going to completely save Drake May. I was really surprised that you didn't see Drake May utilize his mobility against the Raiders in the second quarter. I was worried and thought, oh shit, are the Raiders going to lose this game? A lot of play action rollouts with Drake May hitting the tight end. And one thing, he was getting the ball out really quickly until the Raiders switched some things up in the second half, started sending some more pressure towards Drake May. Corners tightened up and you saw Max Crosby getting to this guy, making him fear for his life. And that led to a big time interception in this game by none other than Isaiah Pola-Mao. Yes, announcers, it's Isaiah Pola-Mao, not Isaac.
Isaac Pola-Mao was right there for Las Vegas.
And that was one thing that was very annoying in this broadcast. You could tell the announcers did not do their homework on the Raiders at all. They don't even know people's names. They're expecting the Patriots to win, but Geno Smith and Pete Carroll had some surprises for them. And you got another former Raiders head coach commenting on this game, but he is praising this quarterback's performance.
Guys like Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders, 70% completion, 362 yards, no range, no run game, no tuck rule. He shreds the Patriots. Oh!
Geno Smith had one rough moment in this game, which was an interception where he was a little late on the throw. But other than that, this guy was absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure we all predicted this. We all predicted, even some of these Raiders fans who were in my live stream during the game were already turning on Geno Smith in the second quarter, especially after the interception. But who would have thought that the number 2 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards is none other than Geno Smith? And who's number 3? Just Justin Herbert. These two got a big game this Monday night. We'll talk about that in a second. Yes, there's all the big time throws. Geno airing it out deep, had an amazing deep ball, but this is my favorite play of the game, man. 4th and 1. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna hand it off? Are you gonna try to roll to the outside? But no, Geno Smith delivers a freaking strike to Michael Mayer, setting his feet in a different direction. I freaking love this play, especially with the backup tight end, who I think a lot of people are sleeping on. My favorite thing about this game was all the receivers getting involved, but mainly Jacoby Myers proving why he is still a #1 wide receiver in the NFL. This guy made some beautiful catches. It seemed like in certain moments he refused to go down, and this is all while he's dealing with a contract extension. He could be a guy who's trying to, take it a little easy, look forward to the contract, not put it all on the line for the Raiders, but instead he went all out and was a key reason why the Raiders won this freaking game. Not only did Geno Smith give the bird to these disrespectful Seahawks fans in preseason, but he gave them another bird by his performance in this game. I'm sure there's some Seahawks fans right now regretting the fact that they traded this guy for a 3rd-round pick for Sam Darnold, who lost in his Week 1 opener against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I will admit, the Niners are a way better team than the New England Patriots at this point, but I was glad to see Geno Smith get the last laugh against his own former fan base. And Geno's performance was so good that you got these rappers, these lady rappers, Young Miami, hollering at Geno Smith. Good shit, Geno Smith. Hey, that's how you know you're really balling out, when you got people sliding into your DMs after the game. Justin Herbert and the Chargers have Madison Beer. I'm hoping that Geno Smith finds somebody to compete with Madison Beer. Could Young Miami be the belle of the ball? This performance by Geno Smith was extra special because he's dealing with so many young wide receivers. You have Trey Tucker, who's only been in the NFL for a few years. Geno Smith to end the freaking game, called game on 3rd and hella long, linking up with Dante Thornton to close this game out. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the future with a rookie 4th-round pick. And they did this all without Brock Bowers. Towards the end of the 4th quarter, Brock Bowers left the game with a knee injury, but all these other players were able to step up. Hopefully Bowers is going to be ready for this Monday Night Football game. I think he will. But nonetheless, Raiders fans are now confident in Geno Smith, even though they were skeptical at first. A lot of people thought, hey, is Pete Carroll just bringing in one of his buddies here to go play in Vegas? But it turns out Geno Smith is the real deal. And if he keeps putting up games like this, he could make the case to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I did not think I was going to be saying this. I thought it'd take time for these guys to gel, but Geno Smith is already rocking and rolling. Mike Vrabel and the Patriots defense could not find an answer for Geno Smith's deep ball in the second half of the game. They tried to load up the box to stop Ashton Genty, the big-time 1st-round pick running back, and this ended in Geno Smith having 9 completions for 20-plus yards, literally breaking a franchise record, tying for the most in a single game by a Raiders quarterback since 1991. That is absolutely amazing to do in your debut. That's going to give tons of confidence going forward. And who would have thought that we have Raiders fans in New England celebrating the victory out there in Foxborough? Ponchos and everything. And look, there were some problems, especially in the first half of the game. The interior offensive line was allowing pressure in Geno's face. He got sacked multiple times, but the Raiders did not crack, and Geno Smith still was confident in the second half.
The offense going again.
Yeah, I think we just stuck with the game plan. I thought, we did a little, executed better in the second half. It's a 4-quarter game. They're a good team as well. I mean, it's the NFL. They're going to win some as well. But, we stuck with it. No one panicked, and we kept going, and we figured it out.
And part of the reason why Geno Smith was so successful is because it starts with Pete Carroll, the oldest head coach in NFL history, but this guy's in good shape physically and mentally. I want to look like that when I'm turning about 74 years old. Hell freaking yeah. Pete Carroll, man, we did not know if this is just going to be a little rebuild year where the Raiders kind of suck, but Some people improve here and there. And this truly is the most slept on team in the AFC West. And of course, all the NFL analysts predicted this right, that the bottom 4th team in the AFC West after week 1 is none other than the Kansas City Chiefs, as everybody else won. And the Denver Broncos barely scraped by against the Tennessee Titans. I don't think they're going to be as good as we thought. So this game Monday night between the Chargers and the Raiders could be a really pivotal game for the top of the AFC West. I think the Raiders are going to seriously compete this year. And I think a lot of people underestimated Carroll and his influence with this team. Just look how he got these guys juiced up right before the game. He's bringing tons of fun, tons of good vibes here. And he's got a lot of guys wanting to run through a wall for him. I really like the performance of linebacker Devin White. I thought he was badass in this game. And this is a dude who got released by the Buccaneers, released by the Philadelphia Eagles, and now he's making plays for the Raiders. And you saw the freaking team in the locker room giving Pete Carroll the game ball since he got his victory as a Raider, his first victory against his former team, the New England Patriots, who he coached as their head coach from 1997 to 1999. Pete Carroll gets his revenge and a game ball, and he's got a locker room that is freaking juiced.
First win in the silver and black. Yeah!
Great to see Dylan Lobby, the young running back with a receding hairline, and we got Brock Bowers on the team with a receding hairline. How is it that 2 players on the Raiders right now somehow look older than Pete Carroll? For the New England Patriots, I think it's going to be a long year for Mike Vrabel. I think a lot of people overestimated his impact and Josh McDaniels' impact on the Patriots. Kind of just a similar roster to last year, and a lot of people thought that was going to make them make a huge jump and be one of those 4-win teams that turns into a 9-win team. Now, or maybe a 10-win team. And it turns out the Raiders are now going to be that underdog team that is going to seriously surprise people this year, possibly get to 10 wins, possibly get to a wild card spot. Who knows if the Chiefs continue to collapse, possibly win the division. It's totally on the table, especially given the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are facing the Eagles this upcoming week. Don't think they're going to win that game at all. And I think one of the worst decisions that Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots made, and I think this shows their lack of confidence in Drake May, the young quarterback, is when there is about 5 minutes to go in the game, you're down 2 possessions, 4th and 10 after a false start penalty, Mike Vrabel and the Patriots decide to punt. At that moment, I thought they were just putting their tail between their legs and just forfeiting the game. I thought that was a very conservative call and just shows that they don't have much faith in this Josh McDaniels, Drake May offense. But now the Raiders have tons of faith in this offense here. Look at the freaking array of weapons you have. A lot of young guys. Brock Bowers getting the 100 yards, Jacoby Myers close to 100, and Trey Tucker and Thornton getting into the mix. And Michael Mayer, the backup tight end, the 2nd rounder, who would have thought he would have been so pivotal in this game? And even Jack Besh, the 2nd round pick wide receiver, getting one big time catch for 23 yards as Geno Smith continued to air it out again and again and again. And the NFL gods built this schedule perfectly. Monday Night Football this week for possibly number 1 in the AFC West. The Raiders at home in Vegas go up against the LA Chargers, who looked amazing in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Nothing but respect to the Chargers. They look like a great team this year. And we get their rematch, man. This rematch when it came to Stanford versus USC, Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll out there in 2009. And then also with the San Francisco 49ers, you got Jim Harbaugh against Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. And now it's going to happen again on the West Coast. Pete Carroll as a Raider versus Jim Harbaugh as a Charger. I love that this rivalry, which has lasted almost like 20 years, is going to continue Monday night on the bright lights for everybody to see. I will be live streaming during that game, doing live play-by-play and reaction. Make sure you join me on this channel for that game. For the Raiders right now, I'm fully confident in their offense, but I think the biggest liability on this team is still the defensive side of the football. unable to get to the quarterback with just a 4-man pass rush. That's not good when you have somebody like Max Crosby on your team. You don't want to have to be blitzing all the time, and blitzing against Justin Herbert is definitely going to be tough. Now, in terms of the cornerback, that was also a liability on this team, and I think cornerback position is still going to be a liability against the LA Chargers. Started out rough, especially in the second quarter. Drake May was getting rid of the football quickly, and the corners really had no answer for it. But you saw cornerback become a strength. Later on, you got Ryan Holmes pointing this out here. Caillou Blue Kelly made a really good play here, breaking up the football on 4th and 1. Unfortunately, the refs, and this was one of the most rigged calls I've ever seen, claimed that that was defensive pass interference, setting up a field goal for the Patriots. This game could have been even worse for New England. The refs pretty much tried to give them points there, in my opinion. And Caillou Blue Kelly in the corners, who were a liability in the beginning, became an asset, but I think they got to have much tougher assignment against the LA Chargers. Those wide receivers looked good. Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, and obviously Ladd McConkey. That's going to be a lot harder than Booty, who was the #1 wide receiver for the Patriots in this game, and also Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, oh, why the hell did I pick him up in fantasy football? This guy does not seem like he's fully healed from that injury that he suffered with the Texans. It looks like he's taking a step back this year as he gets a lot older. But I feel like the Raiders are finally back. It's been incredibly dark since 2021, and now 4 years from now, we got the quarterback we need, Geno Smith. Nobody is better to lead this team this year than Geno. And you got a head coach in Pete Carroll who seems like he's won over the locker room. They're ready to run through a wall for this guy. But the only question is, could they do this week in and week out? Because we know in the NFL, it's a week-to-week league. And one moment, the Raiders won the game and they're going to the Super Bowl. And if they lose next week, I could already see some of us emotional and passionate Raiders fans saying to fire everybody like they did in the second quarter after it was a little bit rough for Vegas. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. Look forward to more videos coming out breaking down the NFL.